Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying the new year so far. Welcome to 2022, would you believe it? And 2021 was an incredible year for myself personally, for this channel. Being able to start doing this full time was incredible. And well, yeah, really grateful for every single one of you watching this right now. Yeah, that's you right there. Well, for helping this become a possibility. Just fantastic stuff. Now, this year, I definitely want to set some sort of goals for the channel, personally, this type of stuff. But, you know, of course, the growth of this channel is dependent, at least in part, on the success of the Call of Duty League and competitive Call of Duty in general. That's tough to see where that's going in the future, but yeah, 100k certainly is the long-term goal. Any single step you guys can help provide on that front would of course be greatly appreciated. But yeah, today wanted to start off on a little bit of a more positive note, if that is at all possible in the state of the scene right now. Just trying to close the loop on some of the frustrations and the meltdowns that we had towards the end of 2021, and kind of looking at Scump's perspective on what the pro players had to say on him skipping some meetings a while ago, and well, seeing where that might potentially lead to the future, with Scump kind of agreeing with X's perspective that we might be talking into a brick wall right now. But very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do. To help this channel reach new people, please do subscribe as well if you have not yet already. So first of all, a couple of interesting news items. This from the Paris Legion I thought was quite remarkable, really. JP Digit announces their analysts going into 2022. We know out of pretty much all the teams in the league, Paris are probably the biggest penny pinchers out of the lot of them. And I mean, the last few years, have they really tried to actually win anything in the Coltine? Arguably, no. There was some talk even could they sell the spot and go elsewhere. Hasn't been the case, it seems, as yet. But interesting, really, JP Digits, given that JP Krez, another JP, has been the analyst for many years for MLG and now with the New York Subliners. So yeah, congratulations to this fella. I don't know too much about him, frankly, but just cool to see Paris Legion getting involved and actually trying to make this league more competitive. Because every single time an organization does this, brings on more staff to help out their roster, the league gets better and better over time. So yeah, cool to see regardless. This also I thought was kind of interesting just because we didn't get the time to discuss it the last couple of days, because well, things have been kind of crazy with the drama going down that we discussed yesterday. But well, some scrims were going down. I mean, it was Los Angeles Thieves up against 18 and Cracked. That's the team of Assault, Shawnee, Classic, and Exceed. This one goes 4-4. There has also been some discussion, really, at least going into the first event of the season, this Kickoff Classic. I'm pretty sure they're calling it again, starting on the 21st of January. How good are some of these pro teams going to be? How are they going to stack up with each other? Of course, lots of things could still realistically change between now and then. Things could change to the game, updates, all this type of stuff could well come through. But of course, I think it was just a couple of days ago that this well, amateur team 18 and Cracked, of course, are basically pro players, right? Have been pro players in the past, but are now out of the league, found themselves getting 7-0'd or, well, A0'd or 7-1'd by FaZe, and our LA Thieves, I mean, they won a fair few maps off them, right, in these, especially the second half of the scrim set, where they tend to replay things, and then, well, go on the opposite side. So, LA Thieves so far haven't really had a standout performance in a scrim set or anything that I've seen. Of course, doesn't necessarily mean all that much, but definitely it is kind of interesting, right, to see going into the season how these teams are faring up against, well, similar practice results and practice partners, because we are kind of getting that right now with Classic streaming some of these practices as we've had over these last couple of days, even though the OpTic guys, it seems now, have called a conclusion on their time at streaming practice for this season. Might talk about that in the coming days if there's more that comes out on it. But I wanted to talk about this from Scump. So he counts down his top 5 moments of the 2021 season, or at least the 2021 year. And well, this was, well, one of them right at the number 3 spot. Thought this was pretty cool, to be honest. This, I'm pretty sure, at the Stage 5 Major, beating the Dallas Empire in front of the Green Wall. It was quite the time, frankly, when we went back to LAN with fans. It was a really positive time, actually, for Call of Duty. You guys might remember all the positivity that was going around, like Call of Duty's back in business. This is what we needed, right? A great event like this to get the crowd going again. The fans were there in force. It was a really great time for Call of Duty. Hopefully, we get that back in force this year. We can get some more positivity in the stadiums. And well, I mean, OpTic beating Dallas is obviously a pretty big moment here in general, but in front of the fans as well. That, of course, is what makes Call of Duty tick. This also I thought was kind of incredible, right, from Scump, because well, we saw just a couple of months ago now, and of course he won the World Series of Warzone 1 versus 100k thing against all the Warzone pros. Like, yeah, he's getting understandably very hyped at this point. But yeah, he certainly had some moments this past season, but he also had some thoughts, because a couple of weeks ago now, we talked about this kind of mandatory meeting, or non-mandatory meeting actually, that was in effect for some of the players that I'm pretty sure Rambo and Illy went along to, but you know, Scump was playing Cold Zero, or he's playing Warzone, or whatever the case might be at the time. Now, a lot of the pro players went along to this, and their kind of feedback and the reaction to it was like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter what we say or what we do, and Hex echoes similar opinions right here. Hex reckons he hasn't even been to one of these owners meetings in like half a year, because it doesn't matter what he says, nothing seems to get through to the other side. They might tell him, okay, yeah, you know, okay, we're listening, but none of what he actually says ends up happening in reality. And Scump kind of echoes a similar opinion. He basically says, look, doesn't matter what I say, what I do, whether I go to these non-mandatory meetings or not, nothing is going to change. Even though, yes, I'm the biggest name, I'm the biggest personality in the scene, maybe me LAG being there would make more of an impact, or at least some of the players probably think that. That's why they think Scump should be at all these player meetings, even if they are not mandatory. But Scump's like, it doesn't matter if I go or not, and he was kind of, well, taking the mick out of the pro players in a sense as well. They were kind of, well, having a go at him when the mandatory meeting came along, and Scump goes, you sure this, this is a mandatory one, guys, I'm here in the right place? And he says it actually annoyed him quite a lot what they had to say about him just a couple of weeks ago. We'll look at here in a second.
Where I was going with that conversation is I want to be clear to anybody who's a developer on the other side of this thing. I am not. I know that you guys have your hands tied in some cases. I know that you guys have to do some cases. I want to know who there's a hierarchy over there. Okay, and I don't know because I haven't been on the calls on the CDL calls, pro calls since mid last year because I was just like, you know what, man, for what? So I just sent somebody I sent an employee to be there.
I was getting for not going to the non-mandatory one.
Yeah.
So whenever we had the mandatory one, you know what I did? First thing I unmuted with like probably 30 pros in there. I said, am I at the right one? This is the mandatory meeting.
Yeah.
Because they were all roasting us for playing Caldera.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah,
nothing's good.
Okay, so where I was
like a player meeting?
Yeah.
So right before
that pissed me off.
Right before I tried to make this,
that pissed me off. I was about to start throwing daggers.
You should have.
I don't like doing that.
Me either.
I don't like causing a stir and causing drama across fellow peers because like at this point, again, what Sam said, there's no reason to fight against other people just because I see where they're coming from and why they think it's important that I would be there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've seen this happen year over year over year over year.
Like the Twilight Zone.
It's like, dude, it's like how many times are we gonna go through this? You know, it's like
there's a reason why I haven't been. Bro. Just like my suggestions just don't break through, and it's fine.
So this was a discussion back on the 9th of December, so they had like a non-mandatory player meeting. Some of the players went along to it. That's why LAG were 40 minutes late to the scrim set they had with OpTic at the time, because their players were still in this meeting that overran. I imagine the players were trying to get their thoughts across to what the CDL should do going forwards, but maybe it was falling on deaf ears to some degree. But of course, I think some of the OpTic guys were here. It did really surprise me at the time why the communication wasn't better. Like, why couldn't LAG have just said, look, we're at this player meeting, we'll be a few minutes late. Didn't seem like the OpTic guys were really aware why they were late to the scrim set. But this was some of the reply that seems to have kind of annoyed Scump a fair bit, as he said. He was pretty pissed off, right, by what they had to say, because and he doesn't really like to get into the beef and the drama, but of course by saying what he said, he's obviously stirred something, right, or at least claps back to some degree on what these guys were talking about, because the Simp says right here, they missed the meeting, all good, ... surely Caldera is a valid reason, all good, it says Asim as well in the replies. So basically saying that these players, especially Scump, should have been in this non-mandatory meeting at the time, and Scump just reckons, especially based on what we've seen the last couple of days, doesn't matter what he would have done, what he would have said, nothing is going to make a difference anyway at the end of the day, so why even bother going, right? Which isn't maybe the most positive mindset, but maybe it's a reality, because at the end of the day, Scump knows that for the last 10 years, doesn't really matter what the players' input has been, like nothing really of substance has changed in the competitive scene from that side of things, right? And maybe some of the developers have listened and changed some things over time. I mean, probably the last time you can see that actually happening is back in Black Ops 2, like a decade ago now, right, when maybe Vonderhaar was actually listening to what the players are interested in, but it's very rare that they actually, well, especially the CDL, since the CDL has come in, that things are actually taken seriously. And that's kind of what some of these pros were applying to this as well. Of course, there was that mandatory meeting maybe more recently that the players are talking about, I guess, where they kind of got briefed on what the season was going to be, but maybe they get no input, right, it seems, because the pros aren't particularly happy with how the format is going, but maybe there's not too much that even the CDL guys can do about it, given what we've talked about with the higher-ups, and even Hex is a similar thing. Thought that was quite remarkable, right, that Hex has basically given up on these meetings as well, and even Nachop recently said he doesn't go to many of them, because that maybe none of it, well, it all falls on deaf ears, as we were just discussing, which is of course frustrating to see, but this is kind of what Ake said a couple of days ago, a lot of this on my timeline talking straight into a brick wall. That of course may well be the case. I think the pros kind of feel that way. They've got all the frustrations out of their system, maybe for the last year, and then maybe there's some sort of more positive attitude we could have in 2022, but I'm just looking for the CDL to catch 1W. 1W is all I'm asking for here, and maybe land with fans is what we need for that to be the case again, just to re-spark some positivity really here in this community for the new year. Of course, this also, like Hitch was kind of jumping on the bandwagon, right? We now saw at the end of October, quite a while ago, that when Trek and Sechan were talking about the fact that rank play was coming very soon, and of course we're now in 2022, and no sign of it arriving, even though rumours have, been coming out that it's arriving relatively soon in the middle of that season 2 sometime, but I guess we'll have to stay tuned for that one. This also just wanted to mention on a similar vein, because what was incredible to me, I think we've talked about this before on the channel, but just given that whole topic was going around, I thought thought it was worth mentioning. Call of Duty Mobile, the game was just kind of like a best of Call of Duty played on mobile. I'm pretty sure it's made by Tencent Games. Of course, they know what they're doing when it comes to mobile games. But, I mean, the game had a ranked play, I'm pretty sure, on day one. This is the ranked play. I don't know how good it is. I think it seems like an Apex Legends type system. I don't know whether it's actually as good as that. Maybe if you guys play more regularly, you'll have a good idea. But, I mean, look at this, right? The game launched. You have these awesome ranks in terms of, like, I don't know if these are ELO scores or what, but, whatever it is, it looks pretty good. And, it's better than whatever we've got in the regular Call of Duties for the last couple of years, which is, of course, kind of remarkable to talk about. And, well, some of the OpTic guys, of course, have been enjoying some other games as well, as we shot to you right here. Every time I watch this guy play Halo, he's doing some ridiculous things. But very much intrigued to hear your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Welcome to the new year. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do to tell the YouTube gods this is a good video. I'd also like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thanks for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Kill. Killing spree. We have them all. Overkill. Ball drop.